Hey everyone, it is Dani'i and welcome to this update video. And so we will be taking a look at all that is happening across the Caribbean and surrounding areas. And of course, we will be focusing on Invest 95L. Disturbance out there now given a high chance to develop. And so before I go into details, please do subscribe if you haven't yet done so and tap the bell so that you never miss an important update. Alright, so we're starting out returning to this satellite imagery here, and we can see that there is some activity across some spots. Up there is Tropical Storm Dawn, still a churning cyclone. It has maximum sustained winds of around 60 miles per hour. Not a threat to land, and it will eventually weaken and dissipate as we head into next week. Going into the tropical Atlantic now, that little blob you see is actually the disturbance. So it's very tiny, and it is making its way slowly but surely toward the west, and so it still has that chance to develop. As I said, it is given a high chance, and since last evening when that was designated a 70% chance of development, it has not increased or decreased. It has remained constant in the 2 a.m. update this morning. And so we also see some more activity coming off the coast of Africa, heading to the Caribbean. Most of that activity is over in the northwestern part of the basin, and also across parts of northern South America. And so let's zoom into some areas here. So we can see that there's lots of showers and thunderstorms being quite persistent across the northwestern part of the basin, bringing some increased rainfall to the Yucatan. Parts of Mexico, go into Belize, Guatemala, and even down to some spots in Honduras and Nicaragua. We see some of that thunderstorm activity, and there is also a lot going on for some parts of southern Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, even over into Colombia and Venezuela. There is some cloud cover in some parts of the ABC Islands, nothing too crazy going on, but for most other islands of the Caribbean, it is clear. So nothing much is even expected today, and there's a lot of dry air in the region. So that is what is helping to stabilize conditions out there, and as such, nothing too crazy going on. And now let's go ahead and take a look at the latest Saharan area map. And so we can see here that there is this plume of dust still out there. Some of that is in the vicinity of our disturbance, stretching across to the Caribbean. Most islands go into the Greater Antilles, so today likely to be quite hazy for a lot of us. And in terms of the disturbance, that is going to be an issue for it. And there is a change that I want to point out to you guys, but firstly, let's go on to the rainfall maps for the Caribbean, and we're starting out with GFS. So this is as we head through today, and the more colorful it becomes, the more rainfall activity is expected. So we can see here that most of the action is going to be over in Central and Northern South America, where we see some of these shades of oranges, reds. So a lot of rainfall for some spots, maybe some thunderstorms possible in some parts of Hispaniola, especially for Haiti, and some passing showers here and there across some spots of the eastern Caribbean islands, but nothing much is expected for the most part, and should be rather clear and sunny throughout today for the Turks and Caicos Islands and most of the Bahamas, and also for Jamaica, Cuba. And so let's move on to what Euro has to show. So, Euro is also in agreement with all of that rainfall activity over in Central and Northern South America. And so now let's go ahead and move on to our disturbance. And here we have it on satellite, and there we can see Barbados over to the far left of your screen. So we have this disturbance here, and it has been fighting. It has been battling that dry air, trying to maintain this activity, and has been maintaining it for a while now. So sometimes though we see some of these darker shades of red going to that black, and those white dots, they indicate lightning strikes. So that is indicative of a more intense system. But once that activity starts to dissipate, that shows weakening, and with all the dry air around, some of it has been infiltrating the system and preventing it from getting itself together at times. But as I said, it is fighting out there, and those sea surface temperatures are helping to fuel it. So let's see what's going to be happening. Let's see how it holds out today, and let's see what the NHD has to say in the 8 a.m. update. I will post that in the comments of this video whenever it is out and pin it. So now I want to go ahead and take you guys through the model track guidance. And so there are less models available now, but based on what we can see here, based on what's available, we have this consistency in that westward track. As for the exact location of where this will go, that is unknown at this point in time. It is just too far out to tell. As for the intensity guidance. Also seeing less models, but majority of what are available are expecting this to even strengthen into a hurricane, and I honestly doubt that it will become a hurricane. I think a depression is definitely possible, and the NHC even stated that it is likely that we will see a depression as we head to the early part of next week, and the Lesser Antilles should be monitoring this system closely because it could bring some impacts once it intensifies a bit. But now we want to go ahead and look at the different runs for the GFS, Euro, and Icon. So we're starting out with Icon here, and we're seeing that they have the forecast time as we head into tomorrow, go into Monday. We don't see much. We see all this activity, all this moisture making its way into the Caribbean, but we're not seeing an organized system, which is indicated by more of those circular lines, which are called isobars. As we head to the Euro model here, we can see something quite similar with Euro, expecting all that activity, all those showers, thunderstorms making their way into the Caribbean, but not actually showing development over there. And then finally for GFS is also not expecting anything crazy. It has all that activity moving into the region, but not showing a tropical cyclone making its way through. So quite interesting here, and it is even suggesting that another tropical wave behind could get itself together and potentially become something before or by the end of this month. So only time will tell what's gonna be happening. But for now, even though we're seeing this decline in model confidence with regard to development of 95L, we still have to watch it because it can surprise us. And even though there's a lot of dry air out there, again, conditions could be conducive enough to allow for some intensification to take place. And regardless, as I mentioned in previous updates, even if it makes its way in as a strong tropical wave, it can still do some damage and be of concern, because there have been many times when tropical waves make their way in and they bring with them a lot of rainfall. And even with tropical cyclones, the main concern is with the water, whether it be from that storm surge when we have these stronger systems, or the heavy rainfall that takes place. And so guys, again, if you're in the Lesser Antilles, especially the Windward Islands, be on watch for this. I will continue to keep you posted as time goes by, but that is pretty much it for this update, and I hope you found it to be quite informative. But if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. I will respond once I get the chance, and as always, remember to be weatherwise.